Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We've been talking about the design criteria um, needed for lighting a kitchen, but let's move into some of the technical considerations. And so we'll take a look at illumination level, basically the quantity of light or how much light you need in a kitchen. We'll talk about color rendering and color temperature. When choosing lighting for your kitchen, there's many different criteria to look at. You will be interested in how much light it gives, the light output. You'll be interested in its color criteria, its maintenance factors, and of course its costs. In this video, we're going to look specifically at the light output, illuminance, and color. So the first thing we'll talk about is light output. All right, and this is defined as luminance, or sometimes you'll hear it said as luminous flux. It's the rate at which a light source emits light energy, and we measure this in lumens. The supply of light in lumens, as this flashlight is emitting lumens, is similar to the supply in water in gallons per minute. So the flashlight is emitting in lumens, and the hose here is emitting water in gallons per minute. How much is pouring out? But it turns out as lighting designers, all right, that's not the most critical measurement. And so what we're interested in is called illuminance. Illuminance is not the amount of light that's being poured out by the fixture. It is the amount of light that falls on a specific surface, right? And so mathematically, illuminance is all of the light that makes it to the surface divided by the area of that surface. So we see in this illustration, light is kind of falling like rain, all right, onto this table. All right, and then we can measure that illuminance at the table level. So it's specific to a particular location. Illuminance is measured in foot candles, right, which is lumens per square foot. Or you'll also see this measured in lux. This is the same thing, only in metric, all right, so it's lumens per square meter. And luckily, it's kind of useful, 10 lux is more or less, all right, it's very close to 1 foot candle, so you can easily make that conversion. So for a super simple example, all right, if we have 80 lumens in an area, all right, being provided by the light fixtures, and they are falling on an area of 4 square feet, all right, 80 lumens divided by 4 square feet would give you 20 foot candles on that surface. And if you laid a what's that called? A light meter on that surface, you should be able to measure the illuminance. What's the difference here between luminance and illuminance? All right, let's hit this one more time. Take a look at this photo here. It is a simple white room with one light fixture right here. That light fixture is pouring out lumens. All right, that is the luminance. And as the light is hitting the wall, all right, the amount of light that the wall is receiving at any particular spot is the illuminance of that spot. Right, so we can see over here the calculated illuminance of each place on the wall here, and it does vary. Right, we can see that it varies because it's brighter up here and then a little bit darker as you move down the wall. So a beginning lighting designer might do all their calculations and find out, okay, I've got 20 foot candles in this area, but what does that really mean? How much light is that? Here is a good way to visualize different illuminance levels. Right? Take a look at the right-hand column here with the illuminance levels in foot candles. And you can see that if we were at 20 foot candles, it would feel similar to being in a residential den or a study. Right? If we only had 5-foot candles in a space, it might feel similar to being in a dim or romantic restaurant. Right? Only a tenth of a foot candle. Oh, no, I'm sorry, a hundredth. I read that wrong. Only a hundredth of a foot candle might feel like standing outside in the full moon. And finally, if you had 1,000-foot candles, you might be in a hospital surgery. All right, it would be so bright. Now, tying this back to kitchen and bath, because that's where you are in kitchen and bath class, the NKBA recommends that the general illumination in the room, all right, for both kitchen and bath, be a minimum of 20-foot candles. All right, that's going to feel a little bit brighter than your living room, right? And a little bit darker maybe than an office, right? So right about in the residential den or study range. Task illumination should be a little higher though, all right? So for those food prep tasks, etc., right, you want a minimum of 50-foot candles delivered to the countertop where you're working, right? And that's going to feel more like a classroom or office level of light. So let's move on to some other criteria for selecting your light fixtures, and that is the color specifications. The color rendering index measures how accurately the light source renders the colors of the object it illuminates, and we're measuring it against sunlight. So we set sunlight at a maximum of 100, and then anything less than that, all right, less than 100, all right. So NKBA recommends that a minimum of 90 CRI, all right, be provided. And so you can see in this picture here, we have two examples. On the left is an 80 CRI light source, and the right is a 95 CRI light source. I invite you to pause and compare these two photos if you can. And so you can really understand why this is very important, especially for kitchens and those food prep tasks. All right. It's also important for bathrooms and the grooming tasks. Our other color factor was color temperature, also called chromaticity. Right? And that's going to be specific to a light source. So it varies whether it's incandescent, fluorescent, LED, etc. Color temperature will help create an atmosphere of the space, and it often reflects the quality, right, of the experience of the interior of room. And so color temperature is going to range, right, from warm to cool. And they numerically, warm is a lower number, then cool is a higher number up here. Here's another illustration of color temperature. Right here you see one room being lit with 3 different color temperature lamps. Right? We have the warm section over here, which is under 3000 Kelvin. We have a neutral section between 3000 and 4000 Kelvin. And anything above 4000 Kelvin is going to be considered cool. So in the kitchen and bath planning guidelines, the kitchen and bath planning guidelines, the NKBA recommends a color temperature somewhere between 2700, which is right about here, all right, to 5000, which is right about here. So anywhere from warm through medium cool, all right. And the specific color temperature you pick should be determined by your user's preference and the materials in your room. They do suggest that you should keep an eye on color temperature and make sure that it's consistent within a space. You don't want a warm light fixture over here and a cool one on the other side of the room. All right, everybody, in this video, we took a closer look at some of the technical considerations involved in lighting. You learned about luminance, illuminance, how much light you need to deliver in your space, and we talked about color criteria, including CRI and color temperature.